Right now on Morning News Now, change of plans. President Trump threatening to temporarily withdraw Todd Blanche's nomination for Attorney General. That nomination already stalled in a Senate committee after objections from 2 Republican senators. Their concerns and how the president is reacting to this latest roadblock on Capitol Hill. Done deal? President Trump touting what he calls a historic agreement for Hamas to disarm and Israel to withdraw its forces from Gaza. The news coming 9 months after a U.S. brokered ceasefire was signed, a deal that has faced major hurdles. Plus, Iran now vowing to retaliate following strikes on Iranian targets by the U.S. The latest from an active Middle East ahead. Off the field fight. Many nations joining forces threatening to boycott FIFA competitions to protest plans to sell stakes of the World Cup to private investors. FIFA's president now fighting back as he tries to push his plan forward. Where does this global uproar go from here? We'll take a closer look later in the hour. And home sweet struggle. For decades, owning a home was a great way for Americans to build wealth. But new challenges mean the American dream might remain a dream. We'll dive into new trends in the real estate market. Good morning. Good to have you with us on this Friday. I'm Joe Fryer. Savannah is off. We begin this hour in Washington, where the now uncertain confirmation of Todd Blanche as Attorney General is taking another twist. The powerful Senate Judiciary Committee's vote to advance the acting AG's nomination was put on hold yesterday. That delay came after 2 Republican senators, John Cornyn and Tom Tillis, said the Justice Department failed to meet their demands. Well, now President Trump says he's willing to pull the plug on Blanche's nomination until those 2 GOP holdouts leave office. That's not happening until January. NBC News White House correspondent Yamiche Alcindor joins us now with the latest on this and more. Yamiche, tell us a little more about what we heard from President Trump about this latest roadblock, and just remind us why Senators Cornyn and Tillis are holding up Blanche's nomination right now.
Well, good morning, Joe. This is quite the fight. President Trump is lashing out at these senators and saying he is fine with pulling out the nomination and the name of Todd Blanche as acting attorney general and keeping him as acting attorney general until January, which is when these senators would be out of office. Now, yesterday, the president wrote in an online post, "I have no objection to temporarily withdrawing Todd's name if they do not do the right thing and putting him back after Cornyn and Tillis are out of office." So the president is essentially saying, I will just take this all out. Senators John Cornyn and Tom Tillis and other lawmakers, by the way, have concerns over the president's settlement with the IRS and so-called anti-weaponization fund. That $1.8 billion fund would have compensated the president's allies who felt they were wronged by the previous administration. Last month, Todd Blanche said the fund was dead in his nomination hearing, but the senators want that in writing, and that just has not happened yet, Joe.
So what has been the reaction from Cornyn and Tillis to the president's threat to withdraw him till they're out of office? Have they laid out a way to try and resolve this sooner than that?
Well, so far, the senators have not indicated that they plan to change their stances, despite the president saying they may pull the nomination until they're out of office. Take a listen to what Senator Cornyn said after the president's post.
I don't know if it's just a negotiating technique on his part, but it doesn't really solve any problems because there's no guarantee he's going to have enough Republican votes in January to confirm him if he withdraws the nomination now.
So there you have it. The president sort of making his threats and the senator not changing his stance at this moment.
Yeah, and also noting that it's also possible in January Democrats could control the Senate depending on what happens with the midterms there. Yamiche, we're also following another story this morning. The FBI is investigating a cyber attack that targeted municipal water systems in Minnesota this week. What is NBC News learning about this attack?
Well, so far what we've learned is that this week a cyber attack targeted more than 30 municipal water systems across Minnesota, and federal officials are urging wastewater operators to guard against these threats. The government says hackers modified passwords to lock operators out of the computers that control these systems. In some cases, that resulted in boil water notices going out and forced these operators to take manual controls of these systems. A senior law enforcement official familiar with this investigation told NBC News that the cyber attacks bear the hallmarks of Iran-backed hackers, though the official also cautioned that the forensic analysis of the Minnesota breach was still in its early stages. The breach, of course, happened just days after U.S. officials publicly warned that Iran-backed hackers were targeting critical infrastructure in the U.S. And as you noted, the FBI has taken the lead in this investigation and is working with federal, state, and local partners, Joe.
All right, Yamiche El-Sindor in Washington. Yamiche, thank you. As we monitor this potential new threat here at home, the U.S. and Iran do continue to trade fire in the Middle East. Yesterday, U.S. forces launched strikes against dozens of Iranian targets. This comes after President Trump vowed retaliation for Iran's missile attack on American troops in the region earlier this week. On another front, President Trump announced overnight that he has reached what he is calling a historic agreement in the war in Gaza. A lot to cover here. NBC News International correspondent Matt Bradley joins us to break it all down. Matt, good morning. So Iran vowed to, quote, punish the aggressor yesterday following U.S. strikes on Iranian targets. But we're also seeing other countries in the Middle East increasingly being dragged into this war. Just what is the latest from the region overnight?
Yeah, that's right, Joe. And we've seen a falling back to that pattern that we saw over the past couple of weeks, that tit-for-tat attacks between the U.S. attacking Iran, Iran attacking what it says are American targets in some of those regional countries, neighbors of Iran, allies of the United States. And just in the past week, we've seen that pattern expand a little bit more. Egyptian authorities warned or said that drones had struck 2 natural gas vessels at the port of Damietta, and that those ignited fires. There were no confirmations about whether or not those were from Iran, but of course suspicion did fall on Iran considering the pattern that I've just been describing. Saudi Arabia had also participated with the United States in striking Iran-backed militant groups in the eastern part of Iraq. So we're also seeing, as I said, an expansion of this. Jordan said that it had intercepted a new barrage from Iran. That was yesterday. And Kuwait said that an Iranian strike hit a building belonging to a Chinese company, killing 1 worker. That was also yesterday. So again, the troubling thing is that not so much the expansion today, but just the emergence of this pattern. Once again, tit-for-tat attacks after a brief pause earlier in the week.
Matt, let's turn now to Gaza. President Trump said yesterday his board of peace reached a deal for Hamas to disarm and for Israeli forces to withdraw from the enclave. What details do we know so far?
Well, very, very few details. And today we did hear from, or we heard this last night, President Trump saying the Board of Peace reached a historic agreement for the complete disarmament of Hamas and all other armed groups in Gaza. Now, Trump, of course, said this on Truth Social. He added that the disarmament would be coming in phases, and he said that this is a monumental step toward lasting peace and security. Now, important to note here, Joe, this was all part of that original deal back in October that was supposed to see Hamas disarm as part of the second phase of that ceasefire deal. That had not happened, and there had been gridlock in terms of negotiations and in terms of diplomacy between Israel and Hamas and all these other partners in terms of what would happen next. Now it looks as though this basically historic guarantee that Trump has said that he's achieved between Hamas and Israel, that really is just a repeat of what was supposed to happen after that ceasefire. And so far, we don't have any indication that the sides, the actual parties to the conflict, are on board. We did hear from Nikolai Mladenov. He's Trump's Board of Peace envoy for Gaza. He praised the deal. And we didn't hear anything really official from Hamas. Ghazi Hamid, he's a Hamas negotiating member. He told Reuters that the agreement was a comprehensive framework that went beyond the issue of disarmament and would depend upon Israel implementing the first phase of an agreement made last year. Now, Ghazi Hamid also spoke to Al Jazeera, and he said that all of this is contingent upon Israel withdrawing from the Gaza Strip. So again, while this is a big deal per se, this does kind of go back to the same terms that were agreed upon in October and that had not been acted upon and that were basically gridlocked for the very same reasons that we're seeing now. So Israel is still supposed to withdraw. Israel had made it clear before that they would not be withdrawing from the Gaza Strip and would not be acceding to the next phase 2 of this ceasefire unless Hamas disarms. Only then would they be doing the second phase. And until then, they've actually been talking, at least, about expanding their footprint in the Gaza Strip. We have not heard from the Israelis on whether or not they're going to actually be going along with this, on whether they will withdraw from the Gaza Strip to allow for Hamas to disarm. But so far, there's been no indication that they would do that. And all past announcements saying that the ceasefire was going to be moving ahead have been met with either disagreement or total inaction. Joe?
So certainly more to come here. Matt Bradley, thank you so much. The father who gave his son an assault rifle that was later used in a school shooting will spend the next 15 years in prison. Colin Gray was given the maximum sentence in a Georgia courtroom yesterday for his role in the mass shooting at Appalachia High School nearly 2 years ago. The shooting was carried out by his son, Colt Gray. The attack left 2 students dead, 2 teachers dead as well. 9 others were injured, including 8 students. Colin was convicted on multiple charges back in March, including second-degree murder and involuntary manslaughter, after giving his son the assault rifle used in the attack as a Christmas gift. Prosecutors said Colin gave his son the weapon despite being warned by law enforcement that the teen had already made threats to carry out a school shooting. The son, Colt, was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole on Tuesday after pleading guilty to 55 counts, including murder. There are significant updates in the investigation into the death of Nolan Wells. New videos are now surfacing of the teenage football player on the day that he vanished while on a boat trip. It comes as NBC News learns the state autopsy is now complete. NBC News national correspondent Aaron Gilchrist has been following this case and has the latest details.
That state autopsy report now in the hands of investigators. The results have not been made public. The examination of Nolan Wells' body was conducted on July 7th, one day after he was found dead at the Barrier Island, where he spent the 4th of July holiday with friends. This as new video surfaces appearing to show Nolan at different points during the day. The Officer Tatum podcast posting surveillance video from the boat launch where Nolan and his friends departed on the morning of July 4th. The podcast also airing video and NBC News analysis confirms is from Horn Island on July 4th. You see dozens of boats and people in the water, the show's host claiming Nolan is among them. Another clip aired on the podcast appears to show Nolan's friend's boat being towed. Nolan does not appear to be on it. One of Nolan's friends who traveled home on the boat said they left because the boat malfunctioned and that Nolan decided to stay behind. Meanwhile, Nolan's mother, as administrator of his estate, making several legal moves, this week sending subpoenas to several social media companies for information and content from his accounts. Nolan's mother again asking her community to speak up.
We are begging, if anyone knows anything, his friends, strangers, please call the hotline.
Aaron Gilchrist, NBC News.
Now to the deadly heat wave that is gripping the southern part of the country. This morning, 69 million Americans from the Rocky Mountains all the way to South Florida are waking up under heat advisories. Parts of the Southwest could see high temperatures 15 degrees above normal. The latest run of scorching temperatures is already to blame for at least 4 deaths, with dozens more rushed to the hospital. NBC News correspondent Ryan Chandler is in Dallas, joins us with the latest. Ryan, good morning. Today is supposed to be one of the hottest days of the week in Dallas. That is saying something. How bad is it supposed to get there, and just how are people staying safe?
It really is saying something, Joe. Yeah, real temperature up to 104. Feels like up to 110 as we get into the heat of the day. We got our water handy. That can be very hard on people. It's also hard on the power grid, or it can be here in Texas. The state here has clocked a record high energy demand, which is also saying a lot for a big state like Texas during these recent high temps. The state says they have plenty of energy to keep people cool in their homes and air conditioning, but they're still urging people to take precautions, maybe turn that thermostat up just a few degrees. I like to keep it at like 66, but if you turn it up, it makes everybody make sure that we have enough energy for everybody. We also know Dallas has some public buildings open for maybe people who don't have air conditioning, because in weather like this, air conditioning is not a luxury. It is a life-saving necessity. So we're doing everything we can to make sure people know where to go if they need it, Joe.
Yeah, and you mentioned life-saving. The extreme heat already to blame for at least 4 deaths across the country. Many others have had to go to the hospital. What more can you tell us about that, Ryan?
Yeah, so we know at least 3 people have died in Idaho. That's the state's first recorded heat deaths of the season. All of them were over 55, state officials say. And then over in Georgia, a tragic case of a 29-year-old mother who is in jail now on second-degree murder charges after police say she forgot her 1-year-old boy in a hot car, leading to his death. And then in Mobile, Alabama, a very interesting case there of at least 5 construction workers who were hospitalized. This is interesting, and I think it's a cautionary tale for everybody because they fell down with heat-related illness in the morning. They had been working since 3 a.m., but this was before even the heat of the day really set on, and they needed urgent medical attention. So it just goes to remind everybody that this heat can get serious quick, Joe.
Yeah, no kidding. And it doesn't even have to be the peak of the day when it gets to the hottest temperatures. With the weekend in front of us, a lot of people might want to cool off at the beach, especially if they don't have air conditioning. There are, though, some concerns there as well. Not to be the bearer of bad news, but what more can you tell us about that, Ryan?
Right. I mean, you want to beat the heat, you flock to the water. Well, there's some bad news in there, too, actually, especially on the West Coast. L.A. County lifeguards say that they actually had to perform 1,500 rescues recently because there's rip current warnings, there's very high surf. They're seeing millions of people flock to the beach all up and down the West Coast. But it may not be the safest thing to do if you're looking for a way to stay cool to get in those dangerous waters right now, Joe.
Yeah, just have to be cautious, know about those rip currents, know the best way to react if you happen to get caught in one as well. Ryan Chandler in Dallas, do your best to stay cool, buddy. Appreciate it. For more, let's check in now with meteorologist Angie Lassman. She is tracking all these conditions as we head into the weekend. Angie, good morning.
Hey there, we've got another day of that oppressive heat. This is going to be something we deal with all the way into the weekend. Notice all those heat alerts that are up across much of the West, parts of the southern plains, totaling 69 million people. This is something we've been dealing with for days and days in most of these regions. And today, not going to be any different. We'll still be hot and dry across parts of the Southwest with this high pressure spinning across that region, leaving our temperatures into the 100 plus range. 114 for Phoenix, 113 for Las Vegas, Salt Lake City, more than 10 degrees above normal for this time of year. You're going to head to 102. Even the farther south you go across the plains, Oklahoma City at 103 and Dallas 104 today. That high pressure works a little to the east by tomorrow. Still the triple digit heat in place across all these same regions, the Rockies, the Southwest, the southern plains. If not into the high 90s, you are into the triple digits. And that stays with us even as we get into our upcoming work week in some of these spots. Albuquerque, you're 95 on Sunday, but 101 by Monday. Yuma, Arizona, you do not get a break. 116 on Sunday. You're still at 110 by the time Tuesday rolls around. Even Wichita into the 90s along with Dallas both Sunday and Monday. Moving into August, we're still going to see the warmer than average conditions. Here's your outlook for the month. Notice it's centered across parts of the southeast and the southern plains as well as up through the northeast. So maybe a little bit of an extended summer in some of these spots. Meanwhile, we've got some of these Midwest thunderstorms already rumbling this morning. Minneapolis stretching down to Iowa City, Kansas City, all seeing some of that action this morning. And we do have the potential to see, multiple inches of rain by the time we get through at least Sunday. There's a system on the move. This is going to leave us with some unsettled weather right as we get into the weekend in some of these spots. And the highest amounts, upwards of 3, maybe even 4 inches, and those will be centered across parts of the Midwest. Otherwise, it's the temperatures across the West that will get your attention through the rest of your weekend. Back to you.
All right, Angie, thank you. Much more to come here on Morning News Now. Later this hour, the American dream used to mean owning your home as a means to build wealth. The new challenges are getting in the way of making that a reality. We're going to take a closer look at why. Up first, controversy off the pitch. Several countries around the world are uniting against plans to privatize the FIFA World Cup. We'll take a dive into the future of the global game right after this. We are back now with the latest on those massive wildfires burning in Europe. For a moment, crews thought they had a handle on the flames, but the wind shifted and they're spreading again. Now one of the south of France's most famous residents, George Clooney, is being forced to evacuate, along with thousands of others. NBC News International correspondent Raf Sanchez is on the front lines with the latest.
A new front in Europe's battle against the flames, with fires now in southern England. A country where outbreaks are rare, now facing a major blaze amid record-low rainfall and scorching heat. While in southern France, fire retardant dropped near the village of Brignon. home to George Clooney and his wife Amal, who say they were forced to evacuate their 18th century manor house. Clooney writing in a letter to the mayor, "Whatever happens to our village, we're part of this community and will be part of making it whole." But word authorities now lifting the evacuation order in the area. While in western France, we traveled into the fire zone in Bordeaux wine country, where the situation at first looked under control. But intense heat and strong winds meant a single glowing ember could, in an instant, turn to flames.
And this is the danger. This fire just came absolutely out of nowhere. It is so dry here. And now you can see there is this desperate effort to keep it from becoming something bigger. These are basically just pickup trucks with water on the back, doing what they can to douse the flames.
And even as some evacuees here are now being allowed to return home, the exhausting battle to stamp out the flames and keep them out is far from over. Raf Sanchez, NBC News, Bordeaux.
Not even 2 weeks after the World Cup wrapped up, a controversy has erupted in international soccer. At issue, a proposal by FIFA President Gianni Infantino to sell stakes in its competitions to private investors. The plans are sparking fury and backlash from soccer federations across the world. The strongest response comes from Europe's governing body. UEFA says all 55 European countries will boycott the World Cup and all other FIFA competitions if the plan is approved. That would mean soccer heavyweights like France, England, and the recently crowned champion Spain would not compete in the world's biggest sporting event. NBC News sports reporter Rohan Nadkarni joins us now with more on this brewing crisis. So Rohan, first of all, help us understand exactly what Infantino is proposing and why. We understand one of the core investment firms has links to President Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner. So tell us more about this.
Of course, yeah. So basically what Infantino is proposing here is to create a subsidiary that would be in charge of soccer's major events like the World Cup. And basically the goal of creating the subsidiary is to sell pieces of it off to investors. It's to invite basically outside money into the game of soccer. And the core investor of that would be Joshua Kushner, who's of course the brother of Jared Kushner, who is Donald Trump's son-in-law. As we all know, Infantino's had kind of a chummy relationship with Donald Trump, gave him the FIFA Peace Prize, talked to him during the Balogun red card incident during the World Cup. So that's kind of the situation here, Joe.
Is this being seen as purely a money grab, or are there other ways people are seeing it?
Well, it's certainly a money grab. UEFA in its statements basically saying we're inviting money, we're going to be beholden to investors. We're going to make the World Cup, instead of a soccer tournament, something that's going to be about return on investment, increasing shareholder value. I think it's looked at as a money grab. It's also looked at as inviting outside influence into the game. I think a lot of soccer federations spoke up against FIFA during the World Cup when that red card against United States player Florin Balogun was overturned. And I think they're looking at this as another way that's kind of inviting outside influence in a way that could affect what's happening on the pitch.
Tell us more about some of the response from UEFA. I mean, just how significant and unprecedented is this threat to boycott from European countries? Because I have to imagine they have a lot of pressure they can put on FIFA here if they're not taking part in any of these competitions.
100%. Something that has helped FIFA in the past is because there are so many member nations, even the heavy hitters like in England, a France, a Spain, there's only so much they can do. To get basically a unanimous boycott from UEFA, imagine this most recent World Cup, Joe, without Spain, the champions, or without England and the drama that they brought to the tournament. That's what FIFA would be facing. And since over the last couple of days, since UEFA came out with this statement, it's not just the European countries now. It's CONCACAF, which includes the United States and some of the Asian countries. You see here, the UEFA statement unanimously, unequivocally reject FIFA's proposal. They've been very strong about this. They've been steadfast that basically they won't partake in any events as long as this proposal's on the table.
And Rohan, it's not just the Europeans who are against the proposal. North America and Asia's governing bodies are also opposed to these plans, but they've stopped short of threatening a boycott. Does this mean FIFA's plans could effectively be dead in the water if you got all three of these bodies voting against the proposal? And how is FIFA responding to this overwhelming backlash?
FIFA's definitely feeling the heat. A lot of reporters got statements in their inboxes late last night where FIFA's now blaming erroneous media reporting on how this is being perceived. They're saying if the member countries don't agree, this won't go through. FIFA's saying they would never sell the game of soccer. That's not the plan here. But FIFA not only did this, controversial plan, they kind of did it in secret. They did it without the consultation of the football confederations. I think that's upset people too, blindsiding them with this proposal. So I have a hard time believing this proposal passes as the way it was first presented. Gianni Infantino's presidency is in trouble. This was an incredibly, incredibly controversial decision. If anything, there's going to be a negotiation, but I have a hard time believing this initial proposal will pass through in any meaningful way.
And it comes after what was largely seen as a successful World Cup, right?
100%. Even amid the controversies from the hydration breaks, expanded field, people loved it. The ratings were incredible, especially here in the United States. It was a fantastic final, fantastic drama. They were able to overcome all the controversies. In basketball, we call this a heat check, Joe. This is a real heat check from Gianni Infantino here. I think maybe he felt emboldened by the success, but it was a fantastic World Cup and definitely successful for FIFA.
All right, Rohan Arkardi, good to have you with us as always. Coming up, we are diving into the growing health challenges the U.S. Coast Guard is facing in the open sea. Questions are being raised about whether crew members are getting brain injuries on the job. We'll take a closer look next. You're watching Morning News Now. We're back with a growing health concern for some members of the U.S. Coast Guard. For decades, small rescue boat crews have endured the pounding of rough seas. Well, now a New York Times investigation is raising questions about whether those repeated impacts are leading to brain injuries. Most missions require crews to travel in a 47-foot boat, slamming through waves as high as 25 feet. Experts say those repeated impacts can be comparable to a car crash, with some crews experiencing it multiple times a day. The investigation found some current and former crew members reported symptoms associated with brain injuries, including migraines, anxiety, memory loss, and mood swings. But the Coast Guard has not routinely screened for traumatic brain injuries, making it difficult to know just how many crew members might be affected. Many continue to serve even as their symptoms get worse. The Coast Guard told the New York Times it has recently launched a brain health initiative to improve care and to help prevent future injuries. New York Times correspondent Dave Phillips joins me now with more. He spoke with several Coast Guard members and their families for this recent in-depth reporting. Dave, thanks for joining us. Some really important reporting here. Glad we can talk about it with you. These crew members are part of, as I mentioned, these small boat rescue teams. There's nearly 200 stations across the country. First of all, just tell us, just what did you learn about what their job actually requires?
Yeah, I mean, these are the people that go out into storms to save ships when no ships should be out there. So, of course, they're exposed to the roughest seas and they're slamming through breaking surf that sometimes can weigh, hundreds of tons. And some of these veterans said to me that a wave hitting you like that is like a car crash, and then the ship flops into the void after the wave, and that's another impact. Now, none of these impacts were seen in the past as dangerous. No one was going to the hospital for this stuff. They were just doing their jobs. But over time, this stuff adds up. It just has a real effect on their lives, and no one was warning them.
Let's talk about how it adds up. I mean, some of the Coast Guard members you spoke with say it often felt like they were hung over for days after some of these missions. What else did they tell you about the physical toll of just repeatedly pounding through these rough seas?
Yeah, this is a weird physical thing. It's sort of a whiplash. So if you put a measurement on the ship, the force wouldn't be that bad. But as the force travels up the body, by the time it reaches the brain, it can be 10 times higher. So, what they're saying is sore necks, headaches, but also confusion. A lot of them symptoms started with really bad sleep, and then symptoms that looked a lot like PTSD. And in fact, most of these folks, if they were diagnosed at all, it wasn't with a brain injury. It was with PTSD, because the Coast Guard thought, and I think this is understandable, hey, being out in all those storms, doing these hard rescues takes a toll on our rescuers, and now they must have post-traumatic stress disorder.
But why?
That wasn't. case.
Yeah, but why did so many go so many years without putting the pieces together and linking those symptoms to their work?
Right. Well, I think it's because a lot of this stuff, it happens really slowly. It can take years and it comes on gradually. So first you have trouble sleeping, and then you have headaches, and then you're afraid to go and walk around in a crowded store. And all these things can seem like just a normal reaction to a stressful job. And I think unless someone's actually looking for it, they wouldn't pick up that this is a slow-moving brain injury. And the Coast Guard, unfortunately, was not looking for it.
Now that we are aware of it, what is the Coast Guard saying that it's going to do to try and address these issues?
Yeah, this is really new. In fact, the Coast Guard wasn't really tracking this until I gave them a call earlier this summer. But the good news is I think they really do care about their people. And so they've stood up this really wide-ranging brain health program where there's going to be testing, tracking of people's exposure. They're also, as we speak, working with researchers to put sensors on the boats so that they can figure out who's at risk and how much of this can they really handle. The good news is this is a solvable problem because most of this exposure happens not during these really critical rescues, but in training to do them. So if we can figure out better ways to train and design these boats, we can take care of these people who take care of us.
Thank goodness for your reporting and for looking into this and raising this issue. After months of looking into this, is there a part of the story that just stays with you the most?
You know, what stays with me the most is that when someone has an unseen brain injury like this, it really injures their whole families. And I talked to a number of families. Some of the Coast Guard members had unfortunately died from suicide after this, but they had gone through years of really strange behavior, sometimes violence, scary stuff, and not knowing what was going on. There was no one there to say, here's what's wrong and how you can help. And I hope that now that our eyes are open a little bit, people won't find themselves in that situation again.
Well, Dave Phillips, thanks for opening our eyes and thanks for joining us this morning to talk about your reporting. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
In health news, social media is lighting up an old habit that has many doctors concerned. In this digital age, trends promoted by influencers can go viral. Well, now a spike in pop culture images showing people smoking is giving rise to sigfluencers. They claim smoking cigarettes is cool again despite all the evident health risks. NBC News medical reporter Dr. Akshay Syal has the details.
Dua Lipa, Jeremy Allen White, Charlie XCX. What do they all have in common? They're holding something called a cigarette. It's been a while since cigs have been in the limelight, perhaps thanks to all the data showing they're very bad for your health. Now, images of celebrities smoking, spreading because of accounts like sigfluencers. And despite a constant drop in use among adults over several decades, the habit, or addiction, is lighting up social media.
Here is a list of cigs that do not count. I'm a sigfluencer. Call me toxic, call me old-fashioned, I don't care. I love to see that cigarettes are coming back in style.
We reached out to these content creators and sigfluencers for interviews and did not hear back. But it's not just social media. Cigarettes gracing the covers of glossy magazines again. It might remind you of a different era, when Hollywood and the advertising industry, fueled by tobacco company money, glamorized cigarettes for decades, even satired in the movie Thank You for Smoking.
The message Hollywood needs to send out is smoking is cool.
Come to where the flavor is. Come to Marlboro country.
But towards the end of the last century, those ads replaced by these.
We're going to leave this here for you so you can see what 1,200 people actually look like.
The smoking rate for U.S. adults dragged down some 73% since 1965. Thanks to a number of factors. Cigarette commercials banned on broadcast TV starting in the 70s. A major tobacco lawsuit and settlement as a massive public health cost of smoking-related diseases like lung cancer were seen. And new laws against smoking in some public places, all contributing to the decline.
I struggled with depression for years. I thought I needed cigarettes to cope. But then I started losing my teeth.
A long-running ad campaign by the CDC called Tips from Former Smokers and others like it, funded by the big tobacco settlement, showed the real-life consequences of smoking. Gum disease, throat cancer, surgeries, and voice boxes.
Get used to eating only soft foods.
The CDC estimates its ads help more than 16.4 million people trying to quit smoking and save some $7 billion in smoking-related healthcare costs over the years. But while cigarette use declined, vaping and pouches surged. E-cigarette use, up 567% among high school students from 2011 to 2022, according to the American Lung Association. And nicotine pouches spiking in popularity, almost quadrupling in the last 4 years. The FDA recently allowing some to be sold with labels saying they're safer than cigarettes.
Getting outside and smoking a cigarette with your friends is better than frying your brain on social media.
As young people are more exposed to nicotine products, they're likely seeing fewer ads against them. Some anti-tobacco initiatives, like TIPS, shut down late last year after the Trump administration's sweeping cuts to the CDC's Office on Smoking and Health, also pausing what anti-smoking groups say is critical funding to state tobacco control programs across the country. We reached out to the White House and the CDC for comment and have not heard back. 20 mostly blue states are suing to block those cuts and others. In a court filing earlier this year, the Department of Health said many personnel cuts at the FDA have been reversed, but no mention of the CDC office that runs TIPS.
I don't want your vape. I want to go outside in the cold and warm myself up with a cigarette.
It's all breathing new life into an old habit that won't seem to die. Dr. Akshay Syal, NBC News.
Coming up, owning a home used to be the most common way to build wealth, but it's not turning out to be the case for some people. So when we come back, a look at the challenges that are putting home ownership out of reach. Stay with us. We're back with a look at how the growing affordability crisis in America is driving some Americans to pack their bags and relocate. Recent data shows more people are moving to the Midwest. One of the big draws, a lower cost of living. NBC News correspondent Maggie Vespa caught up with some families who made the move.
2 days ago, I moved from the Pacific Northwest back to the Midwest.
Is the new American dream rooted in America's heartland?
And this Southwest Florida girl is moving to Michigan.
Social media is abuzz with people on the move to the Midwest. Case in point, Marissa Baker.
You moved from Florida to Michigan 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's correct.
The 34-year-old fitness instructor left her home state of Florida after years of her long-distance boyfriend singing Michigan's praises and prices.
For $300,000, it's like a 5-bedroom, fully redone basement, very nice place. And I'm like, all right, you might be able to talk me into this.
After years of massive population decline, new U.S. Census data shows the Midwest gained roughly 16,000 Americans last year due to domestic migration or Americans moving from other parts of the country.
Decided to pack up my bags and move back to the Midwest.
Daryl Fairweather, chief economist at Redfin, isn't surprised.
During the 2010s, the Midwest was in decline, in economic decline. People who wanted to start their careers had to leave the Midwest for places in California or on the East Coast. The Midwest economy is no longer in decline. People who have been priced out of very expensive coastal metros are looking at the Midwest.
In addition to job options, Fairweather says impacts from the climate crisis, lifestyle choices, and of course, home prices are key. The median price for homes in the Midwest hovers around $300,000, but nationwide, it's $100,000 more at nearly $400,000.
It's just pretty straightforward that living here is so much more doable for the average American.
It's a shift Lauren Silverman feels every day. She and her husband David moved from LA to the suburbs of Cleveland, Ohio in 2022 when they were about to welcome their second child.
As an average American, I can just breathe easier here, literally.
Maggie Vespa, NBC News.
So as people make decisions on where to live based on economics, data out this week is shining a light on the benefits of home ownership. These new numbers are challenging the idea that home ownership, long a cornerstone of the American dream, is the most reliable method to build wealth. The leading index of U.S. residential real estate prices found inflation has outpaced single-family home values for a full year. That's the first time that's happened since 2012. For more on this, we're joined now by Chief Business Editor of People Inc., Editor-in-Chief of Investopedia, friend of the show, Caleb Silver. Give us more context here. Why exactly is it that maybe owning a home isn't the wealth builder that it used to be?
Yeah, that dream is not as much of a reality as it used to be because home ownership, while it's important and it helps you build assets and gain equity, it's very expensive. It's very expensive to get in as a first-time homeowner. Carrying costs of owning a home are very high. Insurance costs have risen about $200 in just the past past 5 years. There's been an annual increase in just the non-mortgage expenses, so it's harder and harder to get in, and it's harder and harder to maintain. Meanwhile, the stock market has outpaced home price gains for several years, almost a decade now.
Let's talk more about that in a second, but I mentioned the number for single-family homes, but it's not just that. Data from real estate marketplace Zillow shows every month since July of 2024, so 2 years ago, inflation has outpaced the growth in condo and co-op value. Does this mean, that owning a property isn't the investment it was before, just overall?
Yeah, numbers to numbers, it's not. The returns are far better in the stock market and other places. The real returns on owning real estate are something like 2 to 3%, but we've seen these home price values decline over the last several months, really since 2024, after that big spike coming out of the pandemic when mortgage rates were super low. Let me take you back to January 2021. The 30-year fixed was 2.3%.
Those were the days.
Today, we're talking 6.4%. That's a massive increase for the down payment and the carrying cost. Meanwhile, the stock market is up 68% in the past 5 years.
Yeah, I was talking about what last month closed its best quarter in 6 years. Is that just simply the better investment right now?
Yeah, and traditionally it has been, although it's hard to put a price tag on the value of your home. That's where you raise your family, you sit around the kitchen table, you can touch it, park your car in it, sleep in it, and have great moments in it. It's hard to put a price on that, but if you're looking at absolute returns, it's definitely the stock market over owning a home. That said, owning a home is a way to build equity, and if you do, your net worth grows over time versus renting for your whole life.
Anything else besides stocks, besides home investment? What are sort of the long-term ways to try and just put your money in something and know you're going to get a good return?
Yeah, even high-yield savings at 4%, 4.5% is going to beat the value of owning a home over time, numbers to numbers. But again, hard to put an emotional price tag on a place you sleep and raise your family, and you can build equity and potentially sell it. But everyone knows that owns a home. It's not just that down payment, it's not the monthly cost, it's that every other weekend you're going to the Home Depot, something breaks in the house, you need a plumber, you need a roof. So the stock market is just putting your money away and watch it compound over time. That's definitely been the place to be.
You can't just call apartment management anymore to fix the problem. I mean, already, if anyone interested in the last couple of years of buying a home has already just faced a lot of obstacles, and now they're seeing a report like this and thinking, oh gosh, at least I thought, I get the home, it's an investment, I make some money in the end that actually was worth the investment in the first place. How can people just make this decision with some level of financial confidence going forward?
Yeah, it's an opportunity cost. If you're going to be living in this town or a town you're in right now and you're going to raise a family and you need a place to live, sometimes owning a home is the right call because it gives you that base, it gives you a place to build equity, and maybe when you move, you potentially sell it. So think about the opportunity cost. A lot of families, and especially younger folks, are thinking, maybe I don't sink all that money into a 30-year mortgage. Maybe we live in this city for 5 years, and maybe we move to Europe for a few years. That experience that a lot of families are seeking right now, post-pandemic, that's in full effect, and that's also changing the landscape for home ownership.
I hear the Midwest is very popular right
It is. Milwaukee, here we come.
We're all heading to Milwaukee. All right, Caleb Silver, good to have you with us. Thank you so much. Coming up, concert goers, of course, love to buy merch at their favorite shows, but for one rock and roll fan, that love blossomed into a bit of a time capsule. Up next, we're going to introduce you to the Minnesota man who's turned his favorite T-shirt into a scrapbook of memories. That is next on Morning News Now. Many people have that one T-shirt you just can't bring yourself to throw away. We are, though, about to introduce you to one that has a rock and roll resume like no other. For the past 29 years, one Minnesota music fan has turned his T-shirt into a walking scrapbook of rock history. Reporter Boyd Hoopert from KARE 11, our NBC affiliate in Minneapolis, has that story.
Tahoe Sportswear started in 1995.
If there's one thing
this is screen printing
Mark Aho knows, it's volume.
T-shirts, and more T-shirts.
How many T-shirts?
Close to 1,000 an hour.
How many?
I don't know if we've eclipsed 10 million yet, but we're probably pretty close.
10 million?
Shirts.
To one.
There's only been one time that I've ever said, guys, set up the machines. I want a shirt for me.
The year 1997.
This is it right now.
A single shirt now on a desk in the office of a man who's clearly a fan of a certain band.
If you ask me who my favorite band is, I won't even mention the Beatles because they're at a class above themselves. Just says John Lennon, 1940 to 1980. John made that drawing himself. I made one.
One. he wore to a Ringo Starr concert.
Got a lot of nice shirt, cool shirt, awesome shirt, high fives on the shirts.
One that started something.
AC/DC, seeing Joan Jett and Billy Idol at the Xfinity Center, Paul McCartney at Camden Yards.
Perhaps you've noticed the common denominator in each of Mark's concert photos.
Fish lips at Bob Seger. Paul McCartney again. Probably by the early 2000s, I had come to the conclusion that I will never wear another shirt to a concert. 38 Special and Loverboy.
And he hasn't.
It saw the Stones at least 6 or 7 times.
So how many total has Mark's shirt seen?
350 or more. 350 or more concerts.
Well, we see him in the shirt and we got to ask, okay, what show are you going to tonight? Where are you and Mom headed to?
Tanner is Mark's son.
Diana Ross at the State Fair with my wife Karen.
I mean, that shirt has seen more concerts than a lot of people will see in their whole entire life.
Taylor, too.
Definitely.
Going to see Night Ranger.
Mark does wash it when it needs it.
We've got some little cracks in there.
Yet it's possible the shirt that's seen Strawberry Field's 78 Rock and Roll Hall of Famers and the Hall of Fame might outlive him.
We've actually talked about, if I will anything to anyone, the kids are going to fight over who's going to get Dad's oversized, stretched out concert shirt.
Eventually, maybe me or my brother would start wearing it to concerts.
Because
more concerts for the shirt.
Too unique to even consider making another.
My daughter and I seen the Goo Goo Dolls.
Or selling the one he has.
You probably get quarter at a garage sale.
Imagine that.
$1 zillion in my world.
Boyd Hooper, KARE 11 News, Fred Lake.
Rock on. All right. We want to take a moment to remember a New York icon, a woman who helped care for many of the city's other icons, specifically museums and monuments. Her name was Christine Roussel, a New York native born in 1939. Art was always part of her life. In fact, for about a decade, she worked at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, where her input was invaluable. Christine helped create several major exhibitions, including a blockbuster display that opened back in 1976 focused on King Tut. Brought massive crowds to the National Gallery of Art in Washington. The Met Museum was actually in charge of it, and to prepare, sent Christine to the Cairo Museum in Egypt for months. Eventually, Christine started her own art conservation and consulting firm. She was so well respected, they actually asked for her advice on preserving the Statue of Liberty. She also worked with Vice President Nelson Rockefeller, launching his art collection right after he left office. She wrote about getting a whirlwind tour of 30 Rock from Mr. Rockefeller back in 1977. She said, quote, "We opened forbidden doors, explored hidden tunnels, and poked our heads into every corner imaginable. He led me to the 11th floor of the RCA building to show me the gardens of the nations. Finding the door locked, we stood on a desk, and I followed the Vice President of the United States out a window." That moment must have had an impact. Many years later, she would become the archivist right here at Rock Center. Her research led to books, including her latest one earlier this year. It was called Lunch on a Beam. She explored the history behind this well-known 1932 photograph of the construction workers who built this place, enjoying a meal while dangling from a beam some 850 feet above the ground. Christine visited Morning News Now just 3 months ago to talk about the book. Why did you decide you needed to write this book?
The reason I wrote the book was so many people would come to the archive looking at me for answers to who are the men on the beam, or my grandfather is the third man on the beam, and you don't mention that. Well, what do you say to people who you have no proof to say, yes, your grandfather is the third man on the beam?
So you said, I need to try to find these answers. Who are these guys? And also, who took the photographs too, right?
Crazy men took the photographs.
Yes, exactly.
You can see those pictures of them up on top of the grillage with the iron workers, straddling beams at incredible heights, and really, really dangerous situation, and lugging all their camera equipment. Think of the day 1932, when the cameras were not little fast shooting cameras. That
No iPhones back then.
No iPhones.
I had the privilege of spending time with Christine this year in the archive. She was helping me with a project that I'm working on. So it was heartbreaking to learn this month that she passed away rather suddenly from complications related to Legionnaire's disease, part of a deadly outbreak on the city's Upper East Side. She was 87 years old. Her family says Christine will be remembered for her intelligence, curiosity, fierce independence, generosity, and extraordinary appetite for life. I find peace in knowing that now she's watching over all of us with a view every bit as spectacular as those guys eating lunch on a beam. And just as she did in life, marveling at the beauty found all across this magical city. Christine, we will miss you. Good morning. We have finally made it to Friday. I'm Joe Fryer. Savannah is off. Right now on Morning News Now, unrelenting. That already deadly heat wave that's been baking most of the South for days now could break even more records today. Nearly 70 million people from the Rockies all the way to South Florida under dangerous heat alerts as the sun rises. And it's looking like relief will be elusive this weekend. Angie is here with your full forecast in just a moment. Also this morning, stateside shockwaves from violence in the Middle East. The FBI now investigating a series of cyber attacks on dozens of public water systems across Minnesota this week. A senior law enforcement official telling NBC News Iranian hackers could be behind it. More on that, plus President Trump now weighing in on Todd Blanche's rocky path forward to potentially becoming America's next permanent attorney general. You're going to need a bigger boat. We've been reporting on it all summer. Shark sightings are soaring from coast to coast. That includes right here in New York City, where the NYPD is betting big on drones to help keep swimmers safe. And this weekend, WWE SummerSlam will rock my hometown of Minneapolis. So what better time than now to sit down with Hall of Famers Nikki and Brie Bella, better known as the Bella Twins. They're back in action together after a few years away from the ring, and they're ready to win. That includes a little pop quiz about Minnesota. We'll tag in later in the hour. Let's start this hour once again with a record-breaking heat wave that is blanketing much of the country. This morning, 69 million Americans from South Florida to the Rocky Mountains are under extreme heat alerts. Meteorologists are forecasting the temperatures in some areas could reach 15 degrees above normal. The scorching temperatures are being blamed for at least 4 deaths. And in Alabama, several construction workers were sent to the hospital after becoming sick while working in this dangerous heat. Now, as the weekend arrives, many of us will flock to the beach to try and keep cool, but experts are warning people to be careful as the recent flooding and those strong rip currents are creating some dangerous swimming conditions. NBC News correspondent Ryan Chandler is in Dallas and joins us now with the latest. Ryan, good morning.
Hey, Joe, good morning. We're trying our best to stay hydrated here in Dallas because the feels like temp for us later today, 110 degrees. That's hard on people. It's also hard on the power grid here in Texas. Texas has clocked some record high demand on the energy grid during these high temps, and the state says they have plenty of energy to go around to keep people cool, but they're urging people to stay safe as we weather these blazing temps.
This morning, Americans across the country waking up to a summer scorcher with almost 70 million under heat alerts after soaring record highs in multiple states yesterday, from Florida to Texas, where the city of Dalhart reached 105, to Arizona. The heat turning dangerous in some areas, with 3 people in Idaho passing away and several construction workers in Alabama hospitalized.
These aren't normal conditions.
It's causing weather whiplash. Alabama also seeing fierce storms yesterday, along with Florida with heavy rain and even a potential tornado spotted. The Northeast still cleaning up after flooding from those storms earlier this week. And on the West Coast, LA County lifeguards say they had to rescue 1,500 people. Watch as they race toward these swimmers caught in the high surf. Officials warning of strong rip currents as heat advisories continue. Still, many headed to the beach this summer looking for some relief as Americans try to beat the heat
We're trying to see if the temps could go down a little bit more.
Officials say there are precautions you can take.
Pay close attention to special populations, kids, the elderly. If you work outside, take frequent breaks.
Yeah, so some of those precautions, you know the drill. Stay hydrated, wear cool clothing. Dallas, for one, is opening up some public buildings for people who don't have air conditioning. If you do, I'm the type who likes to keep it at like a nice cool 66, but if you just turn the thermostat up a few degrees, it'll be easier on everybody's energy supply. The good news here in Texas is that we should be through the highest of the temperatures this week. What does it get to tomorrow? Like a nice 99 degrees. So nice brisk day in Texas to look forward to, John.
Yeah, so the weekend not offering a lot of relief there. Ryan, thank you so much. Appreciate it. For more on what's ahead, let's get a check in your morning news now. Weather meteorologist Angie Lastman is tracking the latest forecast. Angie, good morning.
Hey there, we've got another day of that oppressive heat. This is going to be something we deal with all the way into the weekend. Notice all those heat alerts that are up across much of the west, parts of the southern plains, totaling 69 million people. This is something we've been dealing with for days and days in most of these regions. And today, not going to be any different. We'll still be hot and dry across parts of the southwest with this high pressure spinning across that region, leaving our temperatures into the 100 plus range. 114 for Phoenix, 113 for Las Vegas, Salt Lake City, more than 10 degrees above normal for this time of year. You're going to head to 102. Even the farther south you go across the plains, Oklahoma City at 103 and Dallas 104 today. That high pressure works a little to the east by tomorrow. Still the triple digit heat in place across all these same regions, the Rockies, the Southwest, the Southern Plains. If not into the high 90s, you are into the triple digits. And that stays with us even as we get into our upcoming work week in some of these spots. Albuquerque, you're 95 on Sunday, but 101 by Monday. Yuma, Arizona, you do not get a break. 116 on Sunday. You're still at 110 by the time Tuesday rolls around. Even Wichita into the 90s along with Dallas both Sunday and Monday. Moving into August, we're still going to see the warmer than average conditions. Here's your outlook for the month. Notice it's centered across parts of the southeast and the southern plains as well as up through the northeast. So maybe a little bit of an extended summer in some of these spots. Meanwhile, we've got some of these Midwest thunderstorms already rumbling this morning. Minneapolis stretching down to Iowa City, Kansas City, all seeing some of that action this morning. And we do have the potential to see, multiple inches of rain by the time we get through at least Sunday. There's a system on the move. This is going to leave us with some unsettled weather right as we get into the weekend in some of these spots. And the highest amounts, upwards of 3, maybe even 4 inches, and those will be centered across parts of the Midwest. Otherwise, it's the temperatures across the west that will get your attention through the rest of your weekend. Back to you.
All right, Angie, thank you. The FBI is investigating a cyber attack that targeted municipal water systems in Minnesota earlier this week. A senior law enforcement official telling NBC News it bears the hallmarks of Iranian-backed hackers. Comes as the U.S. and Iran exchange further attacks in a war that continues to escalate. NBC News senior White House correspondent Gabe Gutierrez has the latest. Gabe, good morning.
President Trump is set to hold a cabinet meeting later today, this time at Camp David. His administration touting what it sees as a historic agreement related to the war in Gaza, but facing growing pressure over the war in Iran, as law enforcement issues a new warning for water systems nationwide. This morning, a potential new front in the Iran war, cyber attacks. The FBI issuing an urgent warning to cities across the country about cyber attacks to municipal water systems. Writing utility companies in at least 7 states have reported incidents to the FBI, and some of that activity degraded water operations.
We've never had a similar incident, so this is the first.
In Minnesota alone, more than 30 municipal water systems have been targeted. A senior law enforcement official tells NBC News the cyber attack bears all the hallmarks of Iranian-backed hackers, though the source cautions the forensic analysis is still in its early stages. One town says its water network was temporarily knocked offline.
The water tower was calling for water, but the well was not working.
The government's cybersecurity agency says hackers modified passwords to lock operators out of the computers that control them. In some cases, it prompted boil water notices and forced the operators to take manual control of the systems. The Trump administration is now urging water system operators nationwide to take steps to protect against the significant increase in cyber threat actors targeting America's water supply.
It's a wake-up call to all critical infrastructure in all states. We need to be prepared for cyber attacks.
The new threat here at home comes amid escalating fighting overseas. Overnight, Iran says it launched strikes against storage facilities at an American airbase in Kuwait. The Pentagon not yet commenting and no reports of casualties. It all comes, Iran says, in retaliation for U.S. forces hitting dozens of Iranian targets the day before.
We're going to hit them very hard. I mean, I can actually say that because in that, there's very little they can do about it.
And overnight, the president announced what he called a historic agreement related to Gaza. He says his newly created Board of Peace has reached a deal to disarm Hamas, but Hamas says it will, quote, not take any steps regarding disarmament before Israel's withdrawal from Gaza. Israel has not commented publicly. Meanwhile, a U.S. official says the U.S. has been in close coordination with Israel, but acknowledges Israel is skeptical Hamas will disarm. Back to you.
All right, Gabe, thank you. Staying in Washington, President Trump appears to be walking back his threat to pull Todd Blanche's nomination for Attorney General. The president's former personal criminal defense attorney has been serving as acting AG for months. He was set to face a vote by the Senate Judiciary Committee yesterday to lock in his confirmation, but it was delayed with no new date announced. NBC News Chief Justice and National Affairs correspondent Kelly O'Donnell is in Washington with the latest. Kelly, we've got a lot of back and forth going on here, so walk us through what's behind this delay, including what the president is now saying about all this.
I'm sympathetic, Joe, if our viewers need a scorecard here to follow all of this, but we'll walk you through it. So the issue is Todd Blanche's confirmation is held up in a key committee because two Republican senators who are both not on the ballot in November, so they'll be leaving office, they want assurances in writing from the DOJ that aspects of the president's settlement with the IRS, a lawsuit he brought, can be put in writing. They want an end to the compensation fund that would have paid out potentially up to $2 billion to people like January 6th rioters, others who would be deemed to have been weaponized in some kind of action from the federal government. The other issue is wanting to get clarity on how the Trump family and businesses would be exempt from tax audits, again, as part of that settlement. The president wants his former personal lawyer, who's the acting attorney general, to be made the permanent attorney general. And so far, he is unwilling, it appears, based on the fact that we're in this impasse, to agree to those conditions. Now, the two senators involved, Tom Tillis of North Carolina, John Cornyn of Texas, they are both Republicans who say they would get to yes if they can have those assurances in writing, and they represent views held by some other Republicans. So the issue would still be a consideration if Blanche comes up for a full vote before the Senate. So he needs that committee vote first in order to get to a full Senate confirmation. The president is now saying, instead of delaying the Blanche nomination, his idea from yesterday, now he wants it done immediately. And in a post on social media, he went on to say, not only praising Todd Blanche, but attacking John Cornyn, the Texas senator, who he did not endorse. Cornyn lost his primary. That's part of why he'll be out of office. But the president also defended the idea of the weaponization, anti-weaponization fund, as it's known, nearly $2 billion. He defends that idea. He wants to compensate people that he believes were somehow wronged by being prosecuted for January 6th and other matters. So it's a lot to follow. It's important because obviously having a permanent attorney general is a key position. And this is something that is dragged on beyond where people thought it might. We just don't know yet what happens next. The vote has been postponed. A new vote has not yet been scheduled. Blanche has met with Tillis and Cornyn. He has committed publicly that the fund would be dead, but they won't do it in writing, at least not yet. And so the president has been getting involved in all of this. And in some ways, it's confusing to follow, but he's got a lot on the line here. Joe?
You're giving us clarity, though, Kelly. We appreciate that. I understand you mentioned, Blanche is trying to win those senators' support. Sources tell us some of those efforts that he's trying to win them over. What more can you tell us?
Well, they've made written proposals offering some conditions that the two senators say they want, but those senators say they are not responsive to the specifics of what they want. Again, making certain the fund is dead and defining how the Trump family would be exempt from tax audits. Now, implicit in that is if you're not audited by the IRS, then you could potentially have a financial windfall from that. They want a scope on how would that work, what years would be involved, not going into the future. A lot of unusual circumstances to that settlement with the president's suit against the IRS. That was because his tax returns and many other people's were made public by a contractor who went to prison charged for that offense. Blanche has tried to work this out, and what is notable is he met with Tillis and Cornyn for about 45 minutes yesterday, according to sources. It was described as a collaborative meeting. And again, the issue here is the senators say they can get to yes if they have these assurances. The stumbling block is Todd Blanche doesn't have the full authority to make that commitment. The president would need to be involved, and that's where this is currently sort of at this impasse. Joe?
All right. Kelly O'Donnell in Washington. Kelly, thank you so much. In Georgia, the father of an accused school shooter is behind bars after he was sentenced to 15 years in prison. Colin Gray was convicted in March on multiple charges, including second-degree murder, after gifting his son the assault rifle used in the 2024 shooting at Appalachia High School. 4 people were killed in that attack. NBC News national correspondent Aaron Gilchrist joins us now with the latest. Aaron, good morning.
Joe, good morning. The judge told Colin Gray that he was negligent day after day in allowing his 14-year-old son to have access to the assault rifle that was ultimately used in that school shooting. Prosecutors asked for an 80-year sentence. That's after his son was sentenced to life without parole and after emotional testimony from families whose lives are changed forever.
This morning, the father of a Georgia teenager who killed 4 people at his high school in 2024, now facing a long term in prison.
You were convicted because the warning lights were flashing brighter and brighter, and you didn't get him help, and you didn't remove his access to the guns.
Judge Nicholas Prim handing down a sentence of 15 years following emotional impact statements from victims' family members.
He knew his son was in crisis. And instead of acting, he chose to look away.
Colin Gray was convicted in March after a 2-week trial, prosecutors focusing on his decision to give his then 14-year-old son Colt an AR-15 style rifle. The weapon seen here on surveillance footage before prosecutors say Colt killed 2 students and 2 teachers. Prosecutors pointed to years of troubling warning signs, including the teen's bedroom wall, lined with photos of the Parkland, Florida school shooter. But Gray, testifying in his own defense, said he never saw it coming.
But to do something that heinous, like I don't know if anybody could ever see that kind of evil.
Earlier this week, Colt Gray, now 16, was sentenced to life without parole after pleading guilty to the deadly shooting. His father's sentence, part of a growing movement to hold parents responsible for the actions of teenage school shooters. Jennifer and James Crumley are now serving 10 years each for involuntary manslaughter after their 15-year-old son killed 4 in a school shooting in Michigan.
The principle that's at play here is not just the actions of the parents, it's actually their inactions. And that's where the law is really shifting.
Now, Colin Gray did not make a statement at his sentencing hearing, and legal experts say that's likely because he is planning to appeal. The Crumbleys are also appealing. Joe?
All right, Aaron, thank you so much. The heat is not the only thing rising at beaches across the country. So are shark sightings. From the shores of New York City and Long Island to the California coast, police and park officials are now leaning into drones as a tool to try and keep swimmers safe. NBC News correspondent Sam Brock joins us now from Rockaway Beach in Queens, New York, after the NYPD just gave a demo of their drone efforts. Sam, good morning.
Joe, good morning. Look, it's an all hands on deck, all drones in the sky type of situation, Joe. The reality is there have been so many shark sightings in recent years that the NYPD and the Park Service here have been launching drones 100 yards out into the water. The way it works near where you see those surfers is if the drone spots a shark, they relay a warning back to the lifeguard on the beach. The lifeguard then clears the beach a mile radius in either direction of the shark for at least an hour. It's the latest step that's being taken right now to keep shark encounters at bay. This summer's not just the waves crashing and surfers shredding, but sharks popping up at beaches from New York to California. The NYPD recently sharing this drone footage showing dark figures lurking in the waters off New York City.
We're approximately flying about 100 yards into the water right outside the jetties looking for sharks, the silhouettes of sharks.
Police say they're also searching for schools of fish that could be bait for sharks, with a fleet of drones deployed at 4 different beaches. Some surfers sensing the extra protection.
Sharks is out there, but we stuck with the sharks. It is what it is.
Already, Rockaway has been closed 45 times in about 2 months, nearly double all of last summer for sightings. That's partly due to more surveillance, partly due to more sharks flourishing under conservation laws. Is that in any way connected to this increase in population?
I think it is. The New York sightings are particularly interesting because we know that these animals occasionally get up there, and we've seen them in the past, but they're being seen more frequently.
Recently, a man had a dust-up with a shark at Jones Beach on Long Island, while in Daytona Beach, Florida.
When they let go of my foot, they try to come up and get my arm.
Ja'Cory High suffered these lacerations to his leg. The shark surge prompting changes from Southern California and the Shark Lab autonomous vehicle sending back signals to the beach.
It'll be listening for our acoustically tagged sharks. It'll take water samples to look for white shark DNA.
To new rules in Martin County, Florida, accounting for shark risk when banning fishing at public beaches. All of it a reflection of a new reality, even as the number of attacks has stayed pretty much the same.
We have a sample of the bites that occur, and the trend in that sample is not changing, so I don't think there's any reason to be more fearful.
Joe, some important historical context here. The last time there was a recorded shark bite in New York City, we talked about Long Island, but New York City was 2023. Before that, the 1950s. So all things considered, it is a rare occurrence, but these drones are definitely keeping people safe. And they also, Joe, have a rest tube attached to them, these specific drones. So if they're distressed swimmers, they can detach the rest tube. It inflates once it hits the water, and it can support up to 2 adults. So all sorts of things are happening here on Rockaway Beach with the NYPD trying to keep people safe. Joe, let me send it back to you.
You won't see that in the Jaws movie. All right, Sam Brock, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Much more to come on this Friday edition of Morning News Now, including what could turn out to be a welcome slice of good news for recent grads on the job hunt. But more American companies are now looking to make a U-turn on that workforce AI boom. First, so after the break, we're going to take you back to the front lines of those devastating wildfires scorching hundreds of thousands of acres in Europe, now even forcing one of Hollywood's biggest stars to evacuate. We've got the latest next. We're back now at the latest on the major wildfires burning across Europe. Things are looking up in some parts of France, where firefighters are continuing to make progress. While some evacuation orders are being lifted, there are fears that strong winds and high temperatures could reignite the flames. NBC News International correspondent Raf Sanchez is following the developments from near the front line outside of Bordeaux. Good morning, Raf.
Hey, Joe. Good morning. We're in the town of Le Porge, and this is really ground zero for the wildfire devastation here in France. 183 homes like this one were destroyed when the flames came ripping through. And this is a level of chaos that not even George Clooney and his family have been able to fully escape.
The wildfires ripping across southern France have turned the lives of hundreds of thousands of people upside down, including one of the region's most famous residents. George Clooney and his wife, Amal, bought this 18th century chateau in Provence in 2021, which is now their primary home. But they announced this week they were being forced to evacuate alongside other residents as the flames closed in. Whatever happens to our village, we're part of this community and will be part of making it whole, Clooney wrote to the mayor. The couple also own homes on Italy's Lake Como and in the English countryside, but say they savor the privacy they enjoy in their French village.
Désolé, my French is horrible.
No.
It is horrible, so I'm learning.
Clooney became a French citizen last year, but joked at the Golden Globes he still hasn't quite mastered the language.
Bonsoir, mes amis. C'est un honneur d'être ici, you see.
The evacuation order for their region has now been lifted, though it isn't clear if the Clooneys returned home. Bordeaux's wine region has also been hit hard by the flames. We visited Chateau de Rouillac, a vineyard, to find out how the industry has been impacted.
Is there any danger from the fires here?
No, the vineyard is protected, owner Laurent Cisneros tells us, adding that his young grapes won't be harmed by the smoke. But the wine tourism business has collapsed amid the fires, a major hit for an estate that usually welcomes 6,000 people a year.
It's totally empty today.
Bordeaux hoping the fires will soon be under control and visitors will return.
And of course, this is a time of year when a lot of Americans have trips planned to Europe. The U.S. embassies in both France and Spain are warning against unnecessary travel. But the message from the French government to American tourists is please still come. Don't cancel your trips. The vast majority of France is not affected by these fires. Joe.
All right, Raph, thank you. Coming up, the latest in our ongoing series, The Cost of Denial. A painful post-pregnancy ailment forcing one Oregon mom to take a back seat to everyday activities. But when her doctor recommended corrective surgery, her insurance said not so fast. It wasn't until NBC News stepped in. Her eye-opening story next. We're back now with a closer look at what's making news in the world of politics this morning, starting with new questions about the Trump administration's claims of non-citizens on state voter rolls. Let's bring in NBC News White House correspondent Yamiche Alcindor for more on that and some other headlines out of Washington. Yamiche, good morning.
Good morning, Joe. Today there is a ton of politics news to cover. Let's start with a fight over voter fraud claims. Earlier this month, the Department of Homeland Security Secretary wrote to officials in Nevada, Pennsylvania, California, and New Jersey, saying he believed the four states had more than 250,000 non-citizens on their voter rolls combined. Now, state officials are pushing back and asking DHS to explain where the department got its data. So far, 3 states have declined to share private state voter roll data that includes information like Social Security numbers. Let's go next to a new midterm strategy. Democrats facing slim prospects in rural red states are now pursuing a new tactic to expand the Senate map, encouraging doomed nominees to drop out of races in order to empower independent candidates to take on Republicans one-on-one. Already, Democrats have withdrawn from Senate races in Nebraska and Idaho. Democrats in Montana and South Dakota are facing pressure to do the same. The president and CEO of the Center for American Progress says, quote, it's really incumbent on those Democrats to put their ego aside. Finally, let's go to Michigan and what's become a hostile Democratic Senate primary. Next week, the state is playing host to a number of purity tests. Candidate Abdul El Sayed is running a campaign focused on insurgent leftward-driven populism. And he has endorsements from Congresswoman AOC and Senator Bernie Sanders. Meanwhile, Haley Stevens is testing the demand for the moderate establishment, and she has an endorsement from Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Democrats will choose between these vastly different styles on Tuesday. And that is a look at what is making news in politics this morning. Joe?
All right, Yamiche, thank you so much. Turning now to our series, The Cost of Denial, where we investigate the challenges people face with their insurance. NBC News senior national correspondent Stephanie Goss reports on an abdominal issue that nearly 60% of women experience after pregnancy. Stephanie spoke with one woman who had to endure the pain of this condition for years before her treatment was approved.
How dark do things get when you think about the pain, the daily pain?
It's not good. Yeah. It's definitely not good. I mean, I don't think anybody would want to live this way long term, and I've been living this way for a long time now.
For Stephanie Garneau, normal life is impossible.
So I can't walk for very long without being in a lot of pain.
After giving birth to her 2 sons, Stephanie developed diastasis recti, a stretching of the lining that holds the abdominal muscles in place. The Portland, Oregon mother and therapist is forced to watch her husband do nearly everything: cooking, driving, even carrying her bags.
He helps me get dressed in the morning.
She relies on corsets to stabilize her core.
I mean, it doesn't look comfortable.
No.
60% of women who give birth develop diastasis recti. Most heal within a year. A third do not. Stephanie's sons are now 12 and 14.
I was told for years, oh, that's normal, it'll go away, it's just not a big deal. It is a big deal. It's just progressively gotten worse.
Her doctor recommended corrective surgery, but back in April, her Medicaid plan, Health Share of Oregon, denied coverage with little explanation, telling her your diagnosis falls on a non-funded line. 1 to 470 are funded. Her condition, they said, was number 639.
This is like denial letters.
She appealed and was denied again.
It can be quite a challenge to get insurance coverage for surgical correction.
Dr. Ashonda St. John, an OBGYN, says that some requests to fix diastasis recti are wrongly dismissed as cosmetic.
Are there women who say, I can't afford to just pay for it here, I'm going to go someplace else, even if it could compromise the care I get?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And they take that risk because the pain is so much.
Stephanie considered doing the same thing, but wrote to NBC News after seeing the Cost of Denial series. Before sitting down for our interview, we reached out to her Medicaid plan. And 48 hours later, a surprise voicemail from her doctor's office. The surgery was approved.
You should be getting a call from the surgery scheduling team.
The very day of our interview.
Do you think it's a coincidence that this was approved?
No, I don't.
Health Share of Oregon denies the call from NBC News played any role in its reversal. The decision, it says, was based on additional clinical documentation from Stephanie's doctor. Writing in a statement, with this new information, medical reviewers determined that the procedure met medical necessity criteria to be covered.
It's a relief, but how does that make you feel about the system in general?
I think it's kind of disgusting that people have to work so hard to get the care that they need. Are you going to plant this here?
But for the wife and mother, some hope. Maybe she could be gardening again soon. The doctor we spoke with for this story advises women who are experiencing this pain to tell their doctor. And if their doctor doesn't listen, find another doctor, because there is surgery out there that could potentially help them. And no woman should have to live with this pain. Back to you.
All right, Steph, thank you. Coming up, a healthy dose of optimism for folks on the hunt for a new job. After months of cutbacks and layoffs thanks to an AI explosion, some big American companies are pulling a 180. Why it looks like a more human touch could be making a comeback. That's next on Morning News Now. Back with some potentially good news for job hunters. Some big U.S. companies say they need to hire more people to harness new technologies and reach their growth goals. Comes after a year of layoffs and hiring cutbacks, largely driven by the AI boom. Well, now some employers say AI is actually more expensive than they thought, and the technology can't do as many tasks on the job. Joining us this morning is Chip Cutter. He's a work and management reporter at the Wall Street Journal. Has done some reporting on this. Chip, good to have you with us. So walk us through exactly why companies are doing more of this hiring now. Does it seem like this is a temporary spike, or could it be more of a sustaining trend?
It's a little bit hard to say at the moment, but I think what we're noticing is that after 18 months of layoffs, of companies hiring as a complete last resort, many are saying we actually do need a little bit more people than we might have thought. And so that's partially because some of these AI agents actually aren't as great as companies might have thought. They still require some humans to be there, even if AI can do a little bit more of the work. And so you have a lot of companies actually saying we might have gone too far with our layoffs. We probably need to bring some humans back into our companies right now.
Does this seem to be largely entry-level positions? What are the industries where we're seeing this, and what kind of roles is the companies are looking to fill?
So it's a real mix of industries, actually. So it's everything from the companies like Booz Allen Hamilton, a big government contractor. Their chief operating officer said last week, we're actually a little bit behind on our hiring. They want to hire people with national security clearances, for example, to work in the government. We see companies like Google and CSX, the big train operator. A tool maker, Snap-on Tools, based in Wisconsin, says they want more people. And so part of this is companies saying we need more humans just to meet our growth goals. This is a really noisy economy right now. We've got a war, we've got concerns about inflation, all of this. And so companies have been cautious. They remain cautious, but many are a little bit willing to bring people on if they see some spots.
Clearly, we're still trying to figure out the AI thing, and I think this is a sign companies are trying to figure out the AI thing. Do we have an idea of just how it could change the job market moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen this most exasperated at the entry level, because that's where companies have said, we think AI can just take the jobs of our most junior employees. But we're starting to see that switch too, where companies realize we actually need to start grooming people to be our future middle managers. We need salespeople next to our sales agents. We need coders next to our coding agents, all of that. And so it's still a little bit TBD about what happens when inside big companies in terms of how AI changes all these jobs. I think a lot of professionals feel like we've got to learn this stuff to stay relevant. And there's that real fear of how do I just keep my job in this moment when it feels like so much is changing so fast.
Yeah, and that opens the door to my next question for people out there who are job hunters, whether it's because they are unemployed right now or they're not happy in their current job and looking for something else. And then the people who've been laid off and have been looking for jobs for several months now. What's the best advice for what the skills are they should focus on to try and get that new job?
Absolutely. First off, it's understanding where we are right now with the tech. So hopefully you're using tools that are out there and that keep changing. But at the same time, it's also leaning into sort of what are those human skills that actually do differentiate you. If AI is going to be able to handle more of the sort of intellectual task, be able to sort of, do more of that, what else can you bring to a job? It's really difficult. We know online hiring is broken. These systems are tough to break through. So it comes back to who's in your network. What can you offer that others can't? It's tricky. It's tough. There's a lot of people that are trying to get white collar jobs and not able to do so. So it takes some time and a lot of attention on it.
So you're saying the old fashioned stuff still works. The get in front of people, meet them, drive to the place, whatever it is you need to do.
Absolutely. The friends and family plan. It really does work. Like, who do you know? Who could help you? Who sort of knows how good you are?
All right. Very good. Chip Cutter, good to have you with us. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
All right. This morning, we're following a comeback for people looking to turn back the clock a bit and connect in an old-fashioned way. There's a letter-writing renaissance, and a growing number of young people are finding community through snail mail clubs and pen pal programs. Some creators are even raking in thousands from subscriptions. NBC News correspondent Kaylee Hartung has the details. Kaylee, good morning.
Hey there. It turns out the art of letter writing is not lost on younger generations. In a world where content can be so easily shared and scrolled with the swipe of your finger, there's growing interest in connecting through handcrafted letters delivered to your mailbox instead of your inbox.
Old-fashioned snail mail is enjoying a modern comeback.
This is your reminder that not all mail needs to be bills.
Thanks in part to what Pinterest calls a letter-writing renaissance.
My number one love language is a written note, a letter, things sent to me.
With mail-related searches on the site booming, including pen pal ideas, cute stamps, and letter inspirations.
I'm obsessed with the Barbie stamp.
I think there's something special about handmade things and the kind of human connection you can physically hold on to.
Snail Mail Club Google searches are up over 5,000% in the past year, too, sending subscribers personalized content they're eager to open, from recipes and art to sports and do-it-yourself craft. Some creators and artists in the space even turning their side hustles into full-time jobs.
It has been life-changing money.
Last summer, Hannah Gustafson launched the Tiny Post, sending her first batch of letters to 50 people.
I write a handwritten letter based on a different theme and rooted in vulnerability.
This month, she mailed nearly 6,000 letters to 26 countries.
What kind of feedback do you get from your subscribers when they receive your Tiny Post?
Oh my gosh, that is my favorite part is I will get letters in the mail back to my P.O. box. And so I get to open up hundreds of letters.
And the digital world is finding ways to slow down too. The Slowly app unites pen pals around the globe, then delays the online delivery of messages depending on how far the writers are from each other. And on the site Escargot, you can create and send a physical greeting card without a visit to the post office. But there's a common thread running through each letter, no matter how it's signed, sealed, and delivered.
What is your goal when someone opens a Tiny Post?
My goal would be for them to feel connected.
And guys, in this day and age, as many young people receive old-fashioned letters in the mail, yes, they still go post about it online. But that's also what helps these snail mail clubs get the word out and expand their reach. Back to you.
All right, Kaylee, thank you. For pro wrestling fans, SummerSlam weekend is now upon us. One of the biggest events of the year for World Wrestling Entertainment is taking place Saturday and Sunday in my hometown of Minneapolis. The card features a dozen matches. That includes a 6-woman tag team match pitting 3 legends, the Bella Twins and Paige, against a young new faction called Fatal Influence. Nikki and Brie Bella are WWE Hall of Famers and reality TV stars who stepped away from in-ring action for a few years, but now they are back and they're ready to win. I recently sat down with them ahead of their SummerSlam bout.
Introducing first, WWE Hall of Famers, Nikki and Brie, the Bella Twins!
Ever since their debut in 2008, the Bellas have been conjuring up some twin magic. Do people by now know how to tell you apart?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Even though it is crazy because some people will still get us confused.
Right.
To those who still get it wrong, what do you say?
Well, you know what's really funny is my sister goes with it. So if you call her Brie, she just will be like, goes with it.
It depends how much time I have. Like, sometimes I just can't have this full long conversation about which twin is which, so I'll just be like, yeah, Brie, okay, hi.
Yeah, and I'm always like, she wishes.
She does say that.
And now you see the teamwork from the Bellas.
How does it feel to be back competing in WWE?
Oh my gosh, it feels incredible. You know, I didn't think I'd ever come back, especially, you know, being in my 40s with the 2 kids and running, you know, our wine brand, and I'm always in the garden with our podcast. It just didn't feel like it really fit in the schedule. But it's really interesting because when you're part of the WWE family, you always yearn to come back.
And I just feel super blessed that I'm able still at this age and at this point in my life that I get to share a ring with Sarah of incredibly athletic women. So the recovery's a little bit tougher nowadays, but I feel truly blessed.
What are some of the stories you hear from the younger generation about how you inspired them?
A lot of times it starts with when I was young.
Oh, yes.
I grew up watching you. But I think the one thing I love is that so many of them were like, you made me believe in myself. You made me be like, no, I am tough. I'm strong. I'm capable of anything.
Is it enough? Down goes Chelsea Green. The cover off the Rack Attack 2.0.
You talk about the new era. How has the competition evolved since you started wrestling?
Goodness. You know, you always want every era to raise the bar. And oh my gosh, these women have raised the bar. It's tough. I mean, they are strong. They're incredibly athletic. They're fast. There's a lot of flips and high flying going on with then a lot of power moves. It is the most challenging it's ever been for me in my history of wrestling to keep up with these women. It's a very fun challenge, but yeah, it's tough.
In fact, Nikki just recovered from a major ankle injury. Now she's back, ready to team with her sister at SummerSlam. What will it mean to be on a stage like that and actually be in the ring together finally?
For me, it was why I've trained so hard these past 3 months to come back every day just grinding, because I know there's only so many more moments that I'm gonna get truly in this ring and to have with people that I love. I don't know if I'm gonna get more SummerSlams. I don't know if I'll ever get another WrestleMania. So I was like, I am making this date.
Also on the SummerSlam card, Minnesota's own Brock Lesnar, a legend, competing against a rising star named Oba Femi.
Who are you rooting for, Brock Lesnar?
I mean, I'm an OG, so I have to go for Brock.
What? I hope Oba destroys him.
Oh, we're in Minneapolis. Really?
So, yeah. Take that
I'm old
hometown
school.
boy down.
Speaking of, I'm a hometown boy. I'm from Minnesota.
Are you really?
Okay.
I grew up in Minnesota, where many wrestling legends have come from. So I wanted to help prepare you for SummerSlam. Are you okay to do a little Minnesota quiz here real quick?
Let's do it.
What is a Juicy Lucy?
Oh, Juicy Lucy. I'm assuming, is that like a fruit punch, like a punch at a party, but with alcohol?
That's a good guess.
I would say like maybe someone who like, you know, maybe had a little buzz going. You know what I mean? I could see Grandma being like, Juicy Lucy.
It's actually a hamburger, but where the cheese is basically cooked inside the patty. So it's like almost like molten lava.
Wow.
Finish the name of this popular childhood game. Duck, duck.
Goose.
Loosey goosey.
We played duck, duck, gray duck.
Gray duck. It's so long. The person's gonna
You
run
guys
already.
literally went duck,
half around.
Duck.
Gray duck.
That's what we played.
That's like the black sheep.
I don't know why. No one knows why. I'm going to give you a few useful Minnesota terms here. One is a very versatile term. It can mean you're surprised or even frustrated by something. You say, Oofta.
Oofta. Oofta.
Oofta.
I like Sounds very Viking.
So the Bellas lost their match.
Oofta.
If you agree strongly with something, you betcha.
You betcha.
The Bellas deserve a shot at the tag team titles.
You betcha. Wow. We are ready to go to SummerSlam.
We're ready.
Oh, you betcha. You can catch the Bellas in action night one of SummerSlam Saturday starting at 6 p.m. Eastern. Coming up, we have finally made it to Friday here at Morning News Now. That can mean only one thing. It's about time we clue you in on the latest and greatest from the world of entertainment just in time for your weekend. And look who's here. You betcha. Pop culture guru and esteemed friend of the show, Brian Balthazar. He's got everything you simply can't miss. Up next. Finally this hour, it's Friday, which means it's time for your weekly can't miss list to look at all the movies, shows, and music you need to see and hear this weekend. Joining us this week, entertainment journalist, pop culture expert, and friend of the show, Brian Balthazar. We're actually going to scratch the list and just play Duck, Duck, Grey Duck.
I have lots of questions. I have lots of
No one knows why, but in Minnesota, we play Duck, Duck, Grey Duck, and everyone else plays Duck, Duck, Goose. So we'll leave it at that. All right, let's talk about Spider-Man.
Yes.
Finally, we have the new one. It is brand new day. Tom Holland is back in the big role, and this is getting some good reviews, right?
Right, yeah. Peter Parker is basically unknown to all of them now. A spell has been cast, and now he's living this kind of isolated life. So he's going to, make his efforts to gain all that back. Interestingly, it's already made between around 60 or 70 just yesterday.
Already in previews?
Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
Okay.
Or at least that's the estimation. And also, they're expecting 460 to 470 million in this weekend, but interestingly, their partnerships like BMW, McDonald's, they've estimated as 309 million in exposure on top of the between 100 and 200 million in their own advertising and marketing spend. So if you haven't heard that Spider-Man is premiering this weekend, then we have a problem.
Right, exactly.
Because it is everywhere. But also, you can't underestimate the power of Zendaya showing up on a red carpet.
And never. Plus, they were just in a movie 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, they're getting good buzz right now.
That also did pretty well. I hear the Odyssey's made a little bit of money.
It's okay.
All right.
It's doing okay. Yeah,
all right. Let's get to I Want Your Sex, which is not about George Michael. It stars Olivia Wilde, Charlie XCX, Margaret Cho. It's a psychological thriller with a murder mystery thrown in.
But it also has a little comedy.
Okay.
And so Olivia Wilde's character brings this gentleman. I'm going to be tongue-tied trying to explain this concept as her muse. And if you don't know what kind of muse, refer back to the title, right?
Okay.
Yeah. And it's comedic, but also there's kind of some intrigue and a crime that's involved as well. But I don't. That's all I'm going to say.
That's all we're going to say.
But it's funny. The trailer's very funny, and it's an interesting cast. I think Olivia Wilde makes amazing choices.
Okay.
So, they're murder. It's in the banner. Okay.
It's
the crime
a quirky
is murder
mystery.
Yeah.
So there you go.
With
what more do you need to
themes.
know? All right. For staying in this weekend, lots of streaming options. There's a film. It's called Maddie's Secret, getting praised for the way it handled some of the more delicate topics.
Right.
Like what?
Written and directed by John Early. It's about a food influencer who also has an eating disorder, actually. So it's a pretty sobering, serious story. John was actually inspired by those kind of 80s movies that were kind of like women struggling with.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.